Voice, your voice works, but you can't hear, huh?
All right, let us begin. Welcome to our Thursday night New York Giants Preservation Society meeting. Today we're stepping a little out of the box. Many people requested
Harry's talking.
to have just a San Francisco Giant meeting for the upcoming season. So we will do that tonight. I've been busy during the snowstorms getting some more guests. So we have guests until all of March basically now. I got a couple of dates for April and a couple of dates for May also. So everything is going smoothly and we will progress. So starting next week, Dave Lippman will be speaking. He's on the panel tonight about his entry in the book, 1951, the New York Giants, a team that nobody will.
I should show it.
So
I'll advertise.
Dave will advertise his book. He's in there now. Dave has an excellent voice for radio. Tonight will be our Giants Hot Stove League. Hi, Perry Barber. I'll moderate it and I'll give my feelings, but the floor will be everybody's. I don't think it'll last as long as our normal meetings, but
Go act now.
we will see.
Gary,
There is
Gary,
the book.
Gary, there's nothing normal about our meetings.
Harry?
Well, the main thing is that I'm glad that everybody's enjoying them. And it's actually a lot of fun doing it, and it's a lot of fun getting people. And when they say yes, it's kind of a rush because.
Hey Gary, you want to give us the other dates? You want to go through it, or you're not going to do it?
Well, we got the Dave Lippman is the 18th.
Hi, David. He just logged on.
On the 25th, we have.
Sorry, I missed yours.
Oh, it's okay.
I forgive you.
Steve, I don't have the list with me right now.
Okay. Well, Eisenberg is the 25th.
Gary Eisenberg. Then Tim Mead is on the 4th, trying to do stuff from memory. Erskine, I know. Erskine is the
Dan Taylor on the 11th. Dan
Taylor the 11th. Erskine the 18th. We added April 4th, I believe, will be that New York Giants trivia night. In May, I got a guy named David Creel, I believe his name is. Brand new book about the Giants that I think you'll find interesting. It's called 1962. It's about John Kennedy and a real look at the World Series between the Giants and the Yankees. And then Karen Marco, who Perry spoke to, is finishing her book on Eddie Grant, which will be out by Memorial Day, which is apropos because of the monument that was made to him in the Polo Grounds that is still missing. So that's what and I have other people who have committed. They haven't been committed to a place yet, but they've committed to speak to us. And most of those are in April and May. No definitive dates because they're waiting for stuff to be published. So that's where we stand.
Gary, don't book October. The Giants will be playing in the World Series.
We are looking.
We may have an October.
Speaking of October, we're really looking that we might be able to land Josh Prager to speak about
Nice.
his book, The Echoing Green, which is
I'm actually rereading it. It is fantastic.
So
I have it right here.
Hopefully it'll be close. It'll be close to October 3rd, maybe on October 3rd. We shall see. But no definitive things. We got to speak to him, and if all works out, we're good. And he was our first guest as a organization at Bergino Baseball Clubhouse. Steve even made the trip from Arizona for that. So that was really a fabulous night. So okay, let's turn our attention to the upcoming season. I'm just going to give my thoughts. You guys could chime in and also speak. But the biggest thing that's been bothering me is I am a huge fan of MLB rumors. And every time I go there, I see Giants acquire, and then I'm expecting something, and it's somebody I've never heard of. And it's,
Amen.
it's very disheartening. I understand what they're doing. I think after this year, they will basically have no payroll, except for having Longoria. So, I mean, I'm hoping, I would not spend the money that, like the Dodgers on Bauer, I think he's terrible.
Jesus.
But my feeling is, I'm gonna have to grin and bear it for another year. I think some of their pitching additions might turn out to be decent, but none of them are a top tier starter that anybody's going to be scared of. Wood and DeScalafani. They might turn out to be good additions, but they're not great additions. There's a lot of holes. I spoke to John Shea. He said that their management team was looking for high on-base percentage guns, and that's what they're looking at. And there's basically no way they're finishing higher than third place.
Well, we still don't have a closer. And last year, we really didn't make the playoffs because we had no closer.
Or
And of
bullpen,
course,
yeah.
that last game is still in everybody's memory.
Yep.
That ninth inning where there were the two worst managerial decisions I've ever seen, bringing Coonrod in and then leaving him in.
Is that
Well,
really
we did
still
that-
on your mind, Howie?
Can you hear me?
No.
Is that really on your mind? I'm not joking. Because
Yes, it is.
honestly, they would have got in, and what would have happened?
But they would
They,
have got
they were
in.
not. They were not going to win anything. Come
All
on.
you want to do really is advance.
No, just make the
and then-
Correct. He's
playoffs.
right. He's right.
I understand that. My feeling is they would have got in, and Rich, what do you think? Anything would have happened?
Oh, no, they would have got crushed, but
Probably.
I think
but you
I
never
think
know.
it actually would have been a negative thing to make the playoffs, because if they make the playoffs, then Zaidi thinks he's doing a good job. I'd rather see them get crushed this year and start getting some new blood in there that knows baseball.
Well, if I was 30 years old, I'd feel the same way, but how much longer we gonna have to wait?
I'm right with you. I'm 68, so I
Right.
get it. I totally get it.
Listen, I don't mean to rest on laurels,
How
but
much longer
you
we-
had three championships in the,
Exactly.
and,
Yeah, that may
you
be,
can't win every
if
year.
that's all we have, I'll take it.
I thought we'd have one. I was happy, and they gave you two more. I'm not happy about it, but I think you got to give it a little time to just say, where is another championship?
And the Dodgers have loaded up for the foreseeable future. They really are.
Also.
gonna be really
Unbelievable.
tough. Tough.
You know what? The
And the
Dodgers
Padres have also.
spend money like they just trying to keep certain players away from the rest of the league.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I
at
think
least,
you're right,
at
yeah.
least Nolan Arenado's out of the division, thank God.
That's very
Very
true.
good. That's right.
Yeah, he's a
Steve,
heck of a
what
player.
are you thinking?
Well, I think if they didn't win those 3 championships, we wouldn't be Zooming tonight. I don't think any of it. Everybody got back on board.
You're right,
3
Steve.
and 5 is now going to be, it might be 3 championships and 55 at some point. I'm not a big fan of Kapler. I don't think he was the right choice, but it is what it is. You got to, we root for the uniform, not for the player.
It's the
And they
laundry,
make-
right?
True.
Right.
It's
As far
true.
as making moves, it's always second-class citizens. But, Gary and I spoke this week, and a lot of contracts are up, probably won't be re-signed, Crawford, Belt, et cetera. So there'll be money there. The question is this guy capable of spending it properly? Is he going to go out?
Who's
Get
who's
us a
out there-
player,
Who's
a
out,
real
who's
player.
out there to buy? Between the Dodgers and the Padres, who's left?
Well, right now, there are 3 pitchers that I would sign. There's, first of all, we don't have a closer. I think Trevor Rosenthal is still out there. And there's 2 starters, that Taiwan Walker and Jake Odorizzi.
Whoa, you left one out who could be useful. James Paxton.
Paxton, yeah,
Right, if he's healthy, and he'd be the best of them all.
right.
He's always hurt.
Right, that's the thing.
Do any of those guys excite you, and really any better than what we have?
No.
Well,
No, but the thing is, right now, there's 5 mediocre starters, And if one of them goes
but the other
down,
guys you're saying are all mediocre starters.
yeah, they are.
Pat-
But we don't even
Paxton's
have
always
anybody to
hurt.
go to now if one of those five goes down. Who would be a sixth starter to go into?
But really, to spend the money when there's no way they're making the playoffs with those two teams ahead of them. Not with
Right.
their
No, I
lineup,
wouldn't
the way
spend a
they-
lot on those guys, but I don't think they'll get a lot. Maybe Rosenthal would.
How many
Ask a
wild cards
question
this
on,
year?
what's the status with Buster Posey? Is he gonna be playing this year?
Yes.
This, though.
Yeah, he's in.
All right.
His picture
Yeah, I
was
think
on the, they
another-
loaded the trucks yesterday.
The
His picture
Giants
was in.
rewarded their players, and justifiably so. The problem was all of these guys got old very early in their career. You know,
Right.
31 is not old. They just all got old and all got worse at the same time, which just
Yeah, bad
happened.
contract.
And you know, it's how it is.
Well,
My
Felt
bad
feeling
contract.
is, I
309
hope
last year.
that these guys play well, specifically Cueto, Crawford, and Belt, and then you deal them during the season.
Is Sir Martian gone?
Yes, thank goodness for that.
Yes.
Amen.
He's done.
I mean, that's
Howie,
why
you must be
the
not,
pitchers
Howie's
are-
not too happy with Samartian being gone. I don't know how he's
See,
got it.
Howie, when you said about Taiwan Walker,
Right.
those guys, I think we kind of just signed them. The guys we just, Wood and the other guy.
Yeah, if you could
So
get them at a good price, I think it would be worth.
I
they're better than what we
agree,
have.
I agree, but they're not, like I said, they're not Walker Bueller. They're not Kershaw.
Oh, no.
I don't care about Bauer. I really don't think he's anything. I would never give him that money.
But did the Dodgers really need him? I mean, it's sort of they got him so nobody else could have him. I mean,
That's what they
That's
were
why,
saying.
that's why I think they signed him, just keep him
also
away
have-
from the rest of the league.
they also have a roster of like they're allowed. Everybody's got a 40-man roster. I think the Dodgers got a 50-man roster.
Yeah.
I think for some reason they
Yeah.
got all these extra players. How do they
Well,
keep?
they have
them?
a great farm system. That's why.
I know, it's
They-
just,
they-
you know,
that's the
And
worst.
they got the money.
I still hate them. It's like,
Yeah, we all hate them.
just despise them.
There you go.
The
This-
scary
this-
thing about the Giants' future is we keep talking about next year, all these contracts come off the books and they have all this money to spend. And so Zaid's still got another year and a half on his contract, and nothing in his history points to spending money ever.
Right.
I mean, the closest he came was spending $90 million for Kenley Jansen, and he almost lost him because he jerked around for so long. So I don't, I don't feel like there's a lot of hope that as long as the management team thinks Zaidi is the answer, that we're going to see any named people coming to San Francisco.
I agree with you, Larry. He's not the answer.
When is Longoria's contract up?
Their farm.
Not this year, the
Another
year.
year.
I think.
Another year?
I think he's 23.
Yeah.
I personally don't understand the whole giving a 3-year contract to La Stella. I mean,
Yeah,
Better
did
than
you see
five.
the total in the third year?
no, I did not.
It's tens of millions.
Marcella never played better in his life. Never.
Well, what's ironic is their big news is La Stella, who is Joe Panic revisited. Joe Panic in his prime. That's hardly the chip that's going to move them from third place or fourth place to the head of the pack.
I got to tell you something. Larry was my roommate up in Cooperstown, and he's usually Mr. Optimistic, correct, Steve?
He's changed.
I mean,
He's getting too many of Howie's emails.
Yeah, well, it's not Howie's emails. Every email I get from Steve starts out with, "They just died."
Except it's true.
La Stella is the kind of player you want to have if you have other players who are really
Exactly.
good.
Exactly. He's a role player.
Your role.
And that is like, that's Zaidi's strength, is building a team around a nucleus, but they got no nucleus.
Right.
Exactly. They
Well,
got a
they've got an old
vacuum.
nucleus.
Steve, who invaded Larry's body? Steve, what is going on?
He wasn't even my roommate. He's a driver, though. We drove. We spent a lot of time in the car.
Larry,
Hey,
welcome
Gary.
to reality.
Every year, Larry, it's early, and they're like 20 and 50. It's early.
Hey, Gary, can anybody hear me?
A deaf man
Yes.
could hear you, Mo.
Oh, so I just want to mention one thing about La Stella. You got a great deal for 3 years. That's it.
Giants go by bargain basement players. What happened to their great Latin scouting system? And they get guys
Can't hear you, Mars.
on the existing. They reward them with long-term contracts.
Got to write these things down, hold them up.
Get a blackboard.
Need an interpreter.
Mars. Mars is from Mars today.
Okay, well, the problem with the Giants, if you let me, go on, they rewarded their players, even Aubrey Huff, with these long-term contracts because of the championship years. Whatever happened to their great Latin scouts? For a while, they went on the major league scouting system, was just terrible. Instead of having their own great scouts, which Horace Stoneham, I have to give him credit for, paid for them.
Wait a second, that's a whole change of tune.
Oh,
Giving them credit.
Give them credit where credit is due.
Absolutely, you're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah, they had a great Latin American pipeline. I
Yes,
don't know
they
where
did.
that went.
Went back to Latin America.
Latin pipeline. Two of their higher ranked prospects right now in the minors are Latin players.
Right.
Elliot Ramos will probably be here within 2 years. Matos, they say, is going to be a can't miss player. Now, granted, you're talking about guys who have not done it in the major leagues yet, but it seems like everyone is just complaining about what's on the roster now and why aren't we getting stars now when we know the Padres and the Dodgers are far and away better than we are at the moment. But after all these contracts come off the books next year, Gary, you said, you know, they're going to have like 30, 35 million, I believe. I believe that's all they're going to have in their contract next year when guys like Crawford and Belt and
I think with Longoria, they'll only be 20.
Longoria's he'll still be there next year. He's got another year or two.
Right.
But when all these other guys come off the books and everybody seems to be complaining about Zaidi, since he came on, the Giants farm system, which was in the toilet 3 years ago, like 28th, 29th, 30th, by everybody's account in the industry, now they're saying they're around 9th or 10th. So they've been making strides. Now, obviously, these minor leaguers, guys like, Bart and Jelly and Corey and Bishop and Bailey.
Marco Luciano.
Who's by all
Supposedly
accounts,
their best.
to Crawford.
Right.
Some of these guys are obviously going to make it. Obviously not everybody will make it, but some of these guys will make it. And they're saying with all the money that they're going to have coming off the books next year, this year, you just have to play through the year. We know we're not going to win. They played better than we thought last year in a 60-game season. But when these guys come off the book salary-wise, some of these high prospect guys in the minors right now should be ready to crack the major leagues. And if you get a couple of these guys to make it, and with all the money that they'll have available, a free agent here, a free agent there, I don't think our future is as negative as everybody seems to be talking about and saying it appears to be. Now, yeah, we're not going out and signing huge free agents right now. I agree.
There's nobody worth signing, Jeff. I agree with you.
No, it's not. The talent isn't
Not
there.
anymore.
What happened to Jalen Davis?
We're going to
Agreed.
see all the free agents because I think, what did we got? 40 games with the Dodgers and the Padres. They got all the free agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joey Bart will never make it. Will never make it. It's my opinion.
Why do you say that?
He's had
I
two
think he's,
major injuries to his hands.
Way overrated.
He's had his hands broken.
Rushed last year.
He rushed him.
He was rushed last year.
Absolutely. They had no business bringing him up. Well, we got hurt.
They had no
Suppose
choice.
he
Didn't have a
play,
catcher.
and They had no choice.
But there was no minor leagues. He
Right.
needed to play.
That's right. But it may hurt him more than it helped him.
No, maybe. Yeah.
But we'll see. We need a big year.
Gary, I was
Brandon
just
Douglas
gonna-
here. Maybe for 1 year, he'll hit 36 home runs and drive in 105 runs. Still waiting for that to happen, but
He's 23 years old. He's not that young. I don't know that he was really rushed. I mean, when Posey started, he was younger than that, and he was already great.
different player.
Right.
This-
But Bart
This
was
kid
the
is
second
not
player
ready.
taken. Should he have been the second player taken?
Well,
Probably
not.
maybe that's right. It starts from that.
Yeah.
But like Jeff said,
broken
they
hand.
gotta spend the money the right way.
Yeah,
You
he's
can
got
get
two
$35
broken.
million,
Yeah.
but if you don't sign the right players, what's it worth, you know?
You know, especially a catcher. A Posey comes along once in a lifetime.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
Correct.
he spoiled the Giants, us fans. He came in as essentially a rookie and led them to the World Series 3 out of
Right.
5 years. And he's run that pitching staff like nobody ever could.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, he
And
was
so whoever
fabulous.
follows in his
He's the
shoes
greatest
is
catcher
not
in
going to be the
Giants
same
history.
guy.
Well, it's great when you have pitchers too. That's nice.
Yeah.
Gary, I was gonna suggest as a way to look at the Giants this year, why don't we go position by position? And then we can bring up the talent that's there or not there.
Okay, I'm for that. We'll start
Let's
behind the
try.
plate with Posey.
Yeah, why don't you start good?
He's never gonna be Posey was, but I think he's the
He's
leader of
still
the
good.
team. Personally, he'd be the only guy I would actually, of all of the free agents, think about re-signing. I think you
Yeah.
need to have some kind of link to the past. He's a proven pro. He's so underrated defensive catcher. And I've been talking to Steve over the years. I think he's a Hall of Famer. He doesn't.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, you're talking about the Giants had never won. He led them to 3 world championships, batting title, MVP, comeback player of the year, Gold Glove winner.
He saw Derek Jeter.
He's just a classy player.
Yes.
Yeah, and Gary, he had a lot of clutch hits over the years.
Before spring training was shut down last year by COVID, they said Posey he was hitting the ball, maybe not for the huge power, but he was hitting the ball with authority last year. And now he's got the extra year off coming off of the hip surgery. If he was hitting well in spring training last year before it shut down, you have to assume that his batting stroke will be back this year. He may not be hitting 25 home runs, but I'm sure he's going to be hitting 300 again.
And a lot of you were down on what's his name?
Bart.
On Bart. Yeah. I mean, I know they signed Casale as a backup. I'd rather have Bart backing up Posey. Posey can play some first base, and Bart can learn a lot from him. I know they rushed Bart. I am certainly nowhere near as down on him as a lot of you are. You guys all think he's, awful. Anytime I saw him hit in the minors, he has amazing opposite alley power.
This is not the minors.
I understand that, but
Minors, majors.
no minor leagues last year. He was rushed. Oh, he was, you saw what he was striking out every other time. But
the thing about-
here's what it is. Who do you want him to play?
The thing about Bart is after the first 2 weeks, he actually was hitting the ball fairly well the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
After they figured out how to pitch him, essentially anything inside, above the hands, below the hands,
Couldn't hit
he
it.
didn't hit anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And to me, the Giant coaching staff has been getting rave reviews for having so much experience. To me, that's a coaching thing. If the league has figured out how to pitch you, wouldn't the hitting coaches work with them to fill those holes?
Yeah, you got to adjust.
Yeah, when Posey was first called up, he did not do that great. It wasn't until he came back in July after they got rid of Molina when Posey started catching fire. Bart deserves the same chance to come up.
Whoa, we even got the Yankee fan back this week.
Now, Norm's a Giant fan. Norm, you got to have a lot of work to do this year. I think the roster is going to be changing to get all those autographs. Good luck to you.
Hey,
I don't even know what I'm doing so far.
question I have, guys. Question I have is, where and how is Bailey going to be developed? As long as we're on catchers.
Right. Why did they draft 2 catchers in a row in the first round?
Maybe they
You
didn't
know, the
like
first one wasn't going to work out.
Maybe they did the best player available.
Maybe.
Somebody has to work with Bart on the slider and the curveball. He's vulnerable. Everybody knows it's not the same in the minor leagues, and that was a downfall. He was swinging at pitches in the dirt. The other thing that kills Major League Baseball is it's the only sport without a salary cap, so the small and mid-market teams suffer.
The Giants are not a mid-market team.
No.
No.
And you know, the smaller markets really
They're,
don't
they're
because they don't really
the
spend.
top teams.
They really don't spend anything. Look
They
what the
choose
Pirates
not
did.
to spend the money, which this year I think is a wise thing, actually.
I think the
But it's
Royals are the
somebody
only
available
team
who
that
they love.
did some
They
minor
have to
moves.
think about that.
The Pirates didn't do anything. So
Pirates.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know what the future is going to hold for baseball, especially with analytics the way it is. Trevor Bauer scares me because that kind of salary, I could see certain players demanding that type of less years, more dollars. I don't know.
Somebody has to put a stop to it. The owners got to get together and just say, listen, that's it. I
Hey,
thought that
Bill.
was going to happen when Harper was signed, but
Bill,
They
you got
tried
first
that in
base, Bill.
85, remember?
what is that?
Bill
They
Shifter,
tried
you got
putting
first
the
base.
stop to that 1985 collusion.
Oh, you
Hey,
mean
you can't
Brandon?
do that.
Well, I got Brandon Belt, but this will be his last year probably. I
Okay,
mean,
so
look,
you're discussing first base. Go for it.
Brandon
Did
Belt.
not start the season because of the heel surgery.
Oh, that's right. He's got the surgery. So, yeah, who's going to play first base? I mean, that's interesting. I mean, they got, I guess all these other,
Who's on
utility
first?
players. They're all going to mix and match the infield, I guess.
You got to ask Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, Lestrella.
I just said that, man.
Put Posey on first, let Bart Catch start the
I
season.
agree with you, Harvey.
I don't think he's gonna start the season in the minors unless he has a really good spring. I
Are there
mean,
gonna be the minors? Are there minors this
He's
year?
going to start
Yeah,
in AAA, play every day. He's never played a full season in the minors. You know, with the hand injury, the first time was in May.
he had
missed
two of them, right?
The broken hand. Then he got the hand broken again.
Twice,
And he was in a fall league. He's never played a full year.
You know what? Even his defensive ability. How many pitches did he drop? Not even ones that mattered. You know, a one-on-one count, strike two, and the ball's on the floor.
I thought that was
ready.
I thought that was a problem with the signs. I thought he wasn't getting the signs right.
It's a
I know what you're
combination, whatever
talking
it
about.
is.
I know he had an issue. He had issues with Cueto, catching him. So,
I mean, everybody's got an issue because they're all worried about, the Houston sign stealing case. So they changed. They now wear codes on their wrists. I love that. So the catcher's looking at it, the pitcher's looking in his hat, and it's good. Then they have more commercials.
That's like Cueto's speed up pitch will help.
Mr. Rogers,
I don't know if
Rich,
I love Cueto.
Yes,
you got second base.
second base. Quite frankly, I don't know. I'm going to defer to you guys.
Solano was a really good
Solano
hitter.
had
Solano had a great year last.
Solano had a great
was
season.
Very good. I think I'd play him. Let him play.
Can he repeat?
Maybe.
Done it
We don't
for
know.
years. He's hit 2 straight years for average. You got to leave him in the lineup.
He's a major
I
leaguer.
guess, there's no choice but to put him there.
Let him
He's a hitter.
play. Let him play.
If they're putting Devon in center, you got to leave Solano at second.
You also
Correct.
Devon
have,
shouldn't be. Devon shouldn't even be starting. I mean, he's a utility player. They need a center fielder. That's the problem. But we won't
That's
go.
another
there.
issue. You're right.
you also have at second Flores, who's a good hitter, can't field.
You
He
got
had a great
Listella
season
also.
no hitting though.
Probably there'll be
homers, 32
Listella
RBI.
and Solano.
Is there going to be a DH this year in the National?
No, they're not
No,
No.
no. Off the table. No.
That would have helped.
Thankfully.
Even though I hate the DH, it would have helped the Giants because it did last year.
Well, actually, our DH production last year was amongst the bottom teams.
Really? Even with Darren Ruff? I mean, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Darren Ruff had some rough days along the way too. We only
I
think
know
of
a lot of them had good seasons, but think about the
Yeah.
names you guys are saying. I mean, it's tough when you hear other teams' players. I mean, we really have to just sit through this, I think. And it's not going to be horrible. It's just the chances of winning a playoff spot this year are really like slim and none.
They
So
gotta put
Gary, what are
numbers
you
on- they
thinking?
gotta be able to
500
score
ball
runs,
maybe?
too, 'cause
I
they're
think
gonna
if they
give up
played
a shit load.
500 ball and showed improvement,
Happy.
yeah, that'd be good.
We
And,
need 8 more Mike Yastrzemskis. That's all,
He's another one. He's like Solano. You got to play him.
You
got
gotta
a
play
thing.
him.
He's
He's
got to
great.
What happened
play.
for him for 9 years?
Love Yastrzemski.
He runs. He
Larry
fields.
Margulies, you there?
Yeah, but I can't get my video going.
What do you think?
What's
of
for dinner tonight?
Barry,
camera.
What do you
What do you
think
got
of
cooking in the
shortstop?
kitchen, Barry?
Huh?
Barry, shortstop.
I don't know. What are you gonna do with Brandon Belt? Is he gonna still stay?
Not
Not Brandon
Crawford.
Crawford, I meant Crawford.
Shortstop.
Crawford.
Yeah, he's gonna play.
Sure.
Yeah, do they have anybody better than Crawford?
No.
No.
Well, the prize rookie is in the minors, but he's not going to be ready evidently. So
No, none of them are gonna be ready.
No.
Well, who plays shortstop when Crawford isn't playing?
Dupont, didn't he play a couple,
Dupont will play,
Flores maybe?
Dupont.
That's where they should. That's where Dubon should play. He should back up Crawford. Really.
You're right, exactly.
Right, right.
That's what they will do.
I hope so. But who's need a center fielder?
Howie,
Kevin
why don't
Pillar
you
is
take,
still out
Howie,
there.
why don't you take care of third base?
Well, you never know what you're gonna get with Evan Longoria, right? He's the third baseman, but you never know what you're gonna get. And the other person they'll play is Lestella, probably.
Lagoria's gonna start.
Well, Longoria can't stay healthy.
Injuries.
Yeah, he gets hurt all the time. Yeah.
He certainly wasn't the player that he was on Tampa Bay.
No, Tampa
He
Bay
doesn't look like a
No.
gold
They
glove
knew to
third
get rid of
baseman
him.
anymore.
No, you're right.
And he's too expensive to not put on the field,
Yeah.
but I don't know who they'll play. I
And he
think
hits a
that's
home
one of the
run every
reasons they
once in a
got
while.
Listella. They got Listelli so he could hit lefty and
Right.
spell Solano and Longoria.
Yeah.
Still also plays first base.
Yeah, it's going to be a mix and match of the utility infielders. They're just going to put them all over the place. Lefty, righty.
Yeah, that's the essence of the Zaidi plan.
Yeah, I don't care for that. So I mean, I like the gut of Bruce Bochy. So
I guess we'll move to the outfield.
Dickerson's
There's only
Dave
one.
Rothschild,
Dickerson.
who is your outfield?
Well, I guess you got Dickerson in left field.
Dickerson's left, yeah.
he could stay
Dickerson.
healthy too, and he's great though when he's in the lineup.
He had a pretty good year for them, pretty good. I mean, they don't have anybody outstanding. I mean, the outstanding kid is Yastrzemski right now.
He's your
And
star.
hopefully he's able to come back and do it again.
And
Yeah.
Together a
he's not
nice
a
season.
kid. He's 30 years old. How
Well,
Baltimore buried
okay.
him- How
Compared to
Baltimore
some of
buried
us,
him
he's a
for
kid.
8 years in the minor leagues. Makes no
Something,
sense.
I don't understand that.
Why
I don't
couldn't the
figure-
Orioles have brought him up sooner? I don't understand.
I don't, and the Orioles.
No, that's pretty bewildering.
They
I
weren't a
agree.
good team. I mean, he
They
couldn't.
never,
They don't-
never brought him up.
No.
No, they didn't.
Imagine what the Zoom fans, what the Oriole fans Zoom call looks like, wondering why they haven't done anything for all these years.
Good question.
No, they're
Who's
still
there,
pissed
sir?
off about the milk tapestry.
You got your two outfielders.
Hey, Howie, by the way, one of the rules that Gary has, you can't wear a championship hat till they win another one.
Oh. That better?
Just kidding.
That's
Just
worse.
kidding.
That's worse.
Harvey Weinberg, who do you envision the three outfielders being?
What we just said.
Well, I heard you Stripsky and Dickerson. I didn't hear a third.
But we need a center fielder.
Dubon.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Bond.
Not the greatest, but at least he can catch a ball hit right at him.
That's true.
He's got pretty good range, though.
He does, but
that's what they needed. But I'm still upset about Kevin Pillar. I thought
Why
didn't they keep him?
They should have kept Pillar.
And why does he keep changing teams? Like, what's the deal? I mean,
He's still a free agent now. which
he's
makes no
available,
sense.
right?
Makes no sense.
He was great.
Is Todd Linden still available out there anywhere?
Well, Max Venable?
Max Venable.
What happened to Duggar? Did we get rid of Duggar last year?
Oh, yeah, Duggar's still there.
He's still here.
Talk about old.
How's Willie feeling? Maybe we put him out there.
And what
He
about
probably
Jalen
still could
Davis?
do it.
Like he in the minor league, what happened to him? He was with the Twins. I guess he can't hit major league pitching. I guess. I
Buried
don't
in
know.
the alternate site in Sacramento last summer after a handful.
Most of these guys, they just take a flyer on. I mean, I remember, I think it was last May, Rich and I were on a phone call And for the last 2 years, they've started guys in left field and right field who get designated for assignment a few weeks later.
Right.
Mike
guys
Reed
designated for assignment by the third inning.
It just that pinch hit for in the first game, and if you're being pinch hit in the first game of the year, you know that you can't compete with that.
We're
No, and
forgetting
I'll-
an outfielder that they
Gary-
just acquired.
Gary, I'll add to that. One thing that really scared me was when they started the year, and I don't remember who it was in right field, but he started out very poorly. But Zaidi was quoted as saying, "This kid's going to be great. We just got to give him time." And 2 weeks later, he's back in the minors for the rest of the year.
I think
And
it was
just
the
question his evaluation of talent.
it was the Asian outfielder. I forgot his name.
I'll never forget that, how big he spoke him up. And I know he was trying to give the kid confidence, but it was all out of proportion to what we were all seeing on the field. And in a short time, the kid was gone.
Norm, I'm sure you have his autograph.
Yeah, I was gonna look these guys up. I think his name was Connor Joe.
Yes, you're right.
In the
Yeah.
previous 2
And then he got
years,
cancer.
we go through guys, Michael Reed, Connor Joe. I can't even think of, I was gonna look it up to see all the guys we've added in the last 2 years.
They had some left-handed batter last year. He played in like the second game of the year, and that was it.
Yeah, Jalen Davis. That's what
No, it was another guy. It was another guy who.
Well, we're forgetting the guy that they just picked up from the Twins for Sean Anderson, the pitcher.
Yeah, well, see
Lamont,
something like that
whatever.
that says it's official, and then they have his name, and you're like, yeah, what's official?
And they show no stats.
Never heard of him, but he's got some major league experience. You
He's
don't
got
know
two
what he is.
RBIs,
You see him, you know?
I heard Al Zaidi's going to bring up Al Qaeda.
Oh, God.
That's a bad joke.
Not nice.
Bad joke.
Hey, Gary, you just got an email from Ed Logan. Did you see it?
No.
He got a phone call just now from Mike Murphy,
Yeah.
which was very nice. Mike Murphy's still a clubhouse consultant emeritus, blah, blah, blah. The sad thing is he called Willie Mays last week, and Willie has apparently really lost his eyesight and had trouble remembering Mike. That's not good.
That's not good. Sorry to hear that.
Logan tried to interest Murphy in our group, but his answer would be like mine. He doesn't do computers. Old school. But Logan plans to see him when he comes down, and maybe he'll do a video interview with him or something. Anyway, just thought I wanted to bring that up. Sad about Willie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tough.
Paul, you want to start on their starters pitching?
Sure. Well, Cueto, Cueto had just an inconsistent year last year. I don't expect that much from him.
He has
I'm
lost
trying-
a lot of weight, though.
What's that?
He has lost a lot of weight, though. He's always
Yeah,
on.
I mean, if he can, hopefully, I mean, he can be great. I mean, it's just a question of Willie, will he be or not? I'm glad
Why do you think he lost the weight?
I don't know. He's trying to get in better shape. I don't know. All I know is
His contract is up.
Oh, well, that's true too.
There you go.
That's a good reason.
There you go. I'm just trying to think who else is there. I mean, they got rid of Suarez is gone, right? I'm just trying. I mean, the
Kevin
trouble is
Gausman.
you think of pitchers and you try to put your hand on, you put your head into something and say, gee, wouldn't it be, where did those pitchers go? I mean, it's not like we have, Affeldt in relief anymore. It's like, you think of pitchers and you go starters and you go, used to be, you could name them Marichal and Perry. There aren't those guys around. It's going to be an average mishmash, I'm afraid, again.
Logan Webb.
The Jake McGee signing for the bullpen.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Anybody else want to comment on the starters? I think signing Wood was a decent move. He's not great.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Yeah, no, that's decent.
The only lefty.
And he can hit. He's a hitter.
He's a very good hitter. Gausman was their best pitcher by far last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can he do it again? I don't know.
But they had a chance to re-sign Smiley. Smiley jumped and went elsewhere, and
Right.
Smiley was okay for them.
What about the guy that threw underhand? He was true.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler Rogers, we still have him.
Rodriguez.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Rogers. Yeah, Rogers
Brutal.
is.
You know, part of it is Kapler's handling of pitchers too.
Yeah.
Sometimes overmanaged, brought in the wrong guy at the wrong time. You know, Kapler was not the answer, unfortunately. It would have been nice if they would have signed Girardi, I think, as a manager rather than Kapler.
Yeah.
But, you know, wasn't meant to be.
Who is Descalfini?
He's another guy like Wood who is kind of a cheap alternative who could turn out to be good. But again, you're not talking about being an ace of the staff. You know, you kind of pay what you get for, but he could turn out to be a good pitcher, as could Wood. That's why I think it's a pleasure seeing them given a chance other than seeing Jeff Samardzija again.
Right.
You get what you pay for.
To
Kind
turn
of
his
like
stomach
Private does.
when, he went out there. So overall, I think their starting staff might be okay, but they're not.
Right. Yeah, I think okay would be probably the word for it too. I mean, Beatty will be back, so, and Beatty was decent before he got hurt too, so. I'd say good. I say they're
Someone that
okay.
can go 7 innings or even 8,
know.
not 5
Yeah.
or 4.5.
I know.
1/3.
Yeah,
You can't keep bringing these guys in every day, 6, 7 pitches. You can't work like that. It's no good.
That's
Well,
the
if you
game
play
plan.
all double headers, you could get away with that.
7 innings, that's right.
The problem with that is also analytics. I mean,
Yeah.
that rules the game. It changes the
Ruined
whole
the game.
perspective of a starter.
Ruined the
It's
game.
sad because a lot of starters don't go 7 innings anymore.
Nobody.
No, they don't
Nobody
even go
Nobody
5.
does.
They don't.
Yes,
Billy-
like,
So they spend all this money on just arms just to fill in between the 4th all the way to the 7th or 8th inning.
Right.
Billy Ball never won a World Series. When they signed Samardzija to $90 million with an average 3.5 ERA and a .500 record, I thought somebody is really insane here.
Right.
You're right.
You're
That's right.
right.
Well, Howie liked that deal.
Mars, as insane as that is, 3.5 in today's baseball is considered really good, which is pathetic.
Hall of Fame numbers. Cooperstown.
Anybody, when we were all growing up, some older than us, your ERA had to be under 4. Now I think it's 4.5 is considered good, which is not good.
oh, geez, that's nuts.
And it's okay to strike out too. So,
That's the new world of analytics. They look for launch angles and on base percentages. Strikeouts isn't that big a deal anymore. Wins and losses on a stat isn't any good anymore. It's sad. It really is.
Yep.
How do you draft? How do you know what anybody is good for if they're not playing enough innings or they can't do much? Because the analytics says, he's got to come out in the 3rd inning. His launch angle isn't good enough, so we got to take him out.
That's why baseball is the most down sport. It's a 4.5 ERA suffices these days. Also,
Anybody want to talk about their bullpen?
No.
we don't have.
Name them.
Their bullpen.
Who's the
Name
closer?
them. We have to name them.
Do we have a closer?
McGee.
They just signed McGee.
Right.
He's a one-pitch pitcher.
Maranta, if he is healthy, he'll be back.
I thought they made a mistake getting rid of Smith. I know you didn't agree with me.
Oh yeah, that was a big.
I mean, he was very good for us.
Yeah, that was a huge mistake.
Where the hell?
was.
Why? You had nobody to back him up. Nothing.
And then Melanson learned to be a good pitcher again with the Braves. Like what happened?
Melanson was finished the day he visited the Polo Grounds with Gary. That was the end. Gary's best.
He just got hurt. I mean, Melanson wasn't healthy.
Go to the ballpark and get put on the disabled list. I think it's my fault because I gave him that stuff.
Melanson was finished his first game when he blew Bumgarner's game. against
Absolutely
Arizona.
right.
That's right. That
They
was
did
the end. You're right.
great.
Right there.
Yeah, so they finished the prior season and opened the next season exactly the same, blowing the game.
That's right.
No, he's in the record book, obviously, somewhere. Maybe
Will
he's
Smith blew the game for Atlanta, and that's how the Dodgers got it, advanced this past postseason.
Yeah,
I mean, I like Will Smith. I couldn't, maybe they did try to sign him.
Is
I don't know, maybe he
Watson
wasn't
back?
happy with the learning about Giants history at the Polo Grounds.
Watson's a free agent. I was actually surprised that the Mets didn't go after him.
They still
Nobody,
have Watson.
he's
Yeah,
decent.
he was another one that was pretty good.
Is he still out there?
Yes, he is.
Who's that?
Okay.
I
Watson.
Tony Watson.
I wonder.
Yeah, he was our best reliever last year.
I wonder
Yes.
why they not get these guys is because maybe they're asking for too much. I don't
You
know.
gotta negotiate, you gotta work it out. If you
Yeah,
wanna bid
yeah.
for us,
They don't want
let's
to.
work it out.
Look at the, going back on what was mentioned earlier, I look at Chicago, LA, and New York as actually the big market teams. I could still consider San Francisco Bay Area, which cannot support two teams, as a area.
I totally disagree, Mars.
I do too.
The Giants were spending over, their salary was over $200 million.
Yeah.
So that's a big market team right there. Plus,
Aren't they worth like 5th or 6th in the league? I mean,
plus you have every day you had 40,000 people in that stadium.
yeah,
That's a big
Sell out
market.
after sell out.
they've been making a lot of money. You know,
The-
They're a money-making machine. The Giants,
Absolutely. You
Yeah,
know,
they have bad contracts. You know,
you could spend the money. You got to spend it in the right way.
they didn't spend it right. You know,
I agree with you there, Gary, about spending it the right way. They fared for that huge salary. I think it was second to the Red Sox. They fared fairly poorly. So yeah, you got to make the right decisions. But I don't think they could compete with the Yankees, the Dodgers, or the Chicago team.
I totally disagree.
How's the Giant TV contract compared to the Yankees in LA? Because that's where they get their money.
After they won in 2014, they retooled, they signed all of their guys, and then they added Cueto and Samardzija, and their budget was over $200,000.
200 million.
200 million, I'm sorry.
Okay.
200 million. Unfortunately, again, all of the guys they gave a lot of money to got old in an early baseball age. Cueto was good for the 1 year. Samardzija never was good with them.
Never was good.
And they gave Melanson a ton of money too.
Yeah, they did. They gave him a huge contract.
Yeah, but he got
Yeah,
hurt.
for 200 million, you should be able to compete.
He got hurt, but yeah, it didn't really help.
You know what? He wasn't that good.
To a certain extent, I agree with you, Gary. But the thing is, I think the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Cubs, don't they own their own networks, and the Giants don't?
If the Giants are spending 200 million, they're a top tier baseball team.
Television brings in a lot.
But it never stopped the Giants from spending money. The Giants have spent the money. You could say, hey, they're cheap, but when their salary structure is 200 million, they're not cheap. They just
the problem, Gary, is you can't point to any huge contract that the Giants have signed in the last 10 years that panned out.
That's right. Absolutely.
Unlike the Cubs or the Dodgers or the Yankees, everybody the Giants have signed for 100+ million falls apart.
Absolutely.
Starting with Barry Zito.
I totally agree. All I'm saying is they do have the finances to do it.
Right.
They just have either got unlucky or have picked the wrong guys to pay.
We're going to continue to have the finances because of the Mission Rock development on the opposite side of the O'Doul Bridge, which is going to bring them in millions upon millions upon millions as that thing gets constructed. So they've got the money.
I don't think you're ever going to hear that the Giants are cheap because they're not cheap.
Agreed.
They just have to exercise.
You got to be able to evaluate talent.
That's the bottom line,
I agree
right?
with you, Paul.
Yeah, no question.
in terms
They
of
probably got hurt themselves with these big contracts. They didn't develop the farm system better as well as they should have. Assuming that these guys will be here a while, we'll use these as trade baits. It never happened. Bad contracts, nobody in the farm.
Well, yeah, nobody in the farm. You also won 3 world championships, so you're drafting later. Right. So you really have to have great scouting.
Really, scouting is huge, and that is another issue that Major League Baseball doesn't seem to be a big deal with scouting. I mean, it's old school, but it's important, very important to evaluate talent.
Let's see how our farm system is when some of these guys come up and evaluate it in 3 or 4 years, because they're saying they've moved up substantially in the quality of the players in their farm system, the upper echelon guys. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be.
What are your guys'
Absolutely.
feelings about the minor leaguers? Do you say let them play down there, or you say, hey, we're not going to be that great, bring them up?
No, let them play down there.
Don't rush.
Bring them up.
Yeah, let them play down there.
Yeah, I was gonna say this year, let them play.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem.
Let them
with
play in the
them
minors.
Watching, being a part of the clubhouse, just see how Major League Ball is played, right in front of their faces. I don't have a problem with that, but definitely stay in the minors. Definitely work their tools out.
It's going to be interesting to see what the minors is going to look like, because a lot of the teams, because of COVID, there are so many fewer minor league teams already in Savannah, Georgia. The team down here, the Mets pulled out their single A team, and they brought in a college summer league team called the Savannah Bananas. And now the Bananas are bringing in other pros to create another team, probably because the minor league teams around the area have shut down or pulled out because the major league teams have cut them off. So it's a question of, will these guys get the playing time that they need to develop the talent, underneath?
Paul, that's a very good point. Not only will there be teams, but will there be good competition to develop their talent?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You got to have competition.
Yeah.
Norm, what do you think? What do you think is going to be the outcome of the season here with the Giants?
I think the outcome of this season is going to be, we're not going to be very good. We're going to go through a lot of players. In the last 2 years, 2 years ago, after 2018, the Giants had 908 players in their history. Now we've got 965. In the last 2 years, they have added 57 new ball players to the mix. And we were talking about outfielders a while ago. In the last 2 years, think about these names. Connor Joe, these are outfielders for the Giants. Connor Joe, Michael Reed, Yanvertu Solerte, Gerardo Pera, Pilar, Mike Gerber, Alan Althea, Yastrzemski, Dickerson, Joey Ricard, Jalen Davis, Joe McCarthy.
That was the guy's name last year.
Joe McCarthy, right.
and Basabe, who was just cut.
Yeah.
In terms of talking about scouting, these are the guys we scouted and signed. How many of these guys ended up being anything? How many of them were here for, as you said, more than one at bat and then were sent away? It works the same way for pitchers and infielders. I don't have confidence in the Giants management right now to look at players in other organizations.
Zero. You're right.
Yeah, totally agree. They can't evaluate talent.
How many of those guys that you just reeled off did we actually draft? I don't think one of them that you mentioned were our draft picks.
So we'll talk about farm. No, this is not from the farm. This is guys that we looked at other teams and said, we want to try these guys out because
they're trash,
Yeah, they're looking for a diamond in the rough.
Right.
Keep on
they're
going.
looking for Yastrzemski and Dickerson.
Yastrzemski was.
Yeah, when you don't spend any money, you can play that game of throw it against the wall and see who sticks. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's signing a lot of guys who don't stick.
And that's what's going to happen this year again. At some point this year, these guys in the minor leagues that you're talking about are going to have to come up. Because next year, as everyone has been saying, we're looking at our future. We're looking at our farm system. If we're not going to compete again this year, next year, when you do have free agents and we have contracts available, because all these guys are off our list, are you going to make a competitive team next year or not? It's going to be a mix of young players who potentially have the talent to do well with guys we sign. I mean, I'm not thinking about this year at all. This is the first year in a long time. I'm not thinking about this year. I'm thinking about the future. And is Farhan Zaidi, does he have a bead on what the future really is, or is his 5 years going to be wasted?
Wasted.
That's a very good
Although-
point.
I think you did a great job, Norm. I agree with a lot of what you said. The only thing, the advantage for you is you'll get more autographs with
It's all fine.
More autographs that you can't read.
As dismal as this outlook that we've just discussed for the last hour looks, who of us thought in 2010 that a team comprised of Aubrey Huff and Jose Uribe and Edgar Renteria and Pat Burrell, to name just a few, was going to go anywhere?
They
And they
had
won
the
the World
pitching.
Series.
I will say this, Larry. I like their pitching from
just
the
incredible
get-go.
pitching they had.
They had the
Yeah,
pitching.
I like their
Lincecum, we had
pitching.
Tim
I agree with
Lincecum,
you on
Yeah.
those
Matt
points,
Cain.
but they had the pitching. And
They had
pitching.
pitching. And they
Pitching
basically
wins.
won. They
But you-
won with pitching and defense, and they scored 3 runs. You know,
They
Right,
had
right.
solid core
They had the
structure
pitching.
bullpen for years, which you don't see. So the pitching was
Yeah.
what brought us those 3 World Series titles.
Absolutely.
on
And
Armando
a team that had
Benitez.
4 elite pitchers in their system, in their major league roster for like a 6-year period that were there, that were steady, that were
Right.
reliable. You knew what you were getting.
Yep,
year in,
absolutely.
year out. That
And
doesn't.
you
Bochy
wouldn't-
knew how to use them.
But you
Yep.
couldn't use them that way now, today, with today's rules, because now when the reliever comes in, he's got to pitch to 3 batters.
Yeah, I hate
what
that rule.
Bochy
That's
did
not
before.
even baseball.
That's an
Yeah, that's
idiotic
bogus.
rule.
I agree with that. That's
You're
bogus.
dictating to a manager how he runs his team. That's
Yeah,
moronic.
it's ridiculous.
Right,
What do
It
you
doesn't
say?
save
4
time.
minutes on game time length? Who cares?
right.
It doesn't save time.
I gotta tell you, the one guy during the whole run who I think was the most underrated Giant and never really got his due because he really didn't pitch that often was Javier Lopez. Every huge
Oh my
out,
God,
man,
he was great.
especially against like the Phillies in 2010.
Lefties.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he never got the credit he should have gotten.
he
Right.
was
Everybody out.
fabulous.
Yep.
well, he's the guy
Great
that
with the
would be
Red
hurt.
Sox too.
He'd be hurt by today's rules because he never
Yeah.
pitched to
That's
more
correct.
than
man.
1 or 2
Right.
batters.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. He would have been impacted.
Yeah,
I hate that rule.
he'd pitch 70 games, 30 innings a year.
Yeah. What a life, huh?
Every Ryan Howard and
Got him
others
4
got it
rings.
all the time. It was
Got him.
Gary, wish you could teach, you could have taught that way. That would have been nice.
Times in the
am I looking forward to the season? Yes, my expectations are not high, but I'm not sitting here going to be crying about, oh, they stink. I like
Yeah.
to see
We will be, Gary.
hopefully some
Gary,
development.
Gary, you and I will be up every night till 2 a.m. watching these guys.
I will.
Gary, I'll have you on the phone. We'll be moaning and groaning.
Back in 2010, you could throw analytics out the window. Billy Beane never won a world championship, but the Giants had heart. So analytics doesn't take into the heart and drive and spirit of a player that has a desire to win.
That's exactly what I don't like about Zaidi having not played the game. Look at a guy for us older guys. Look at Eddie Stanky. Remember the famous Leo DeRocher quote? Can't hit, can't field, can't run, can't do any of that. All he does is beat you.
That's right.
You can't evaluate that with statistics.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. No. It takes the
Billy
human
Martin
element,
is another
that's
good
the
example.
problem.
There was
It
a
takes
quote
the-
from
he
Billy Martin. He
reduces
said, I
everybody to
only
numbers."
hit 250. I only go 1 for 4. But that one hit, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
You can't evaluate that with statistics. And that's what I don't like about a non-player being in the GM position.
Hey, Rick Swig, how are you? Your volume is up.
I'm just hanging in here, getting educated. That's all.
Rick, you want to put in a San Francisco perspective?
Normie is my Normie Coleman is my agent and manager, so he's
Well,
he's
I gotta
expressing
tell ya,
everything.
That was a
except-
very good pickup, you sending him to us. So thank you.
Yeah, except my seats are better at the ballpark than his are, but he never goes anyway, so it's okay. That's an inside joke. He's always there.
We haven't heard from a very big fan here in the East. Sheldon Mizell, how we feeling? Your mic is off. Sheldon is
Mike is
always
muted.
commenting on Steve's posts.
His mic is muted.
His mic is muted. Anybody else have anything they want to add, say, talk?
I know nothing about this scene.
Frank,
What do you think our closer and our setup name's gonna be?
Sign
Ready.
Trevor Rosenthal.
I'm not sure they have them yet.
They don't have a closer. Yeah, Rosenthal
they
would
don't
be
have
one.
close.
I'm not sure they will have a closer. They might do it by committee.
First surgery.
But
I'd like to be a season ticket holder this year.
Not going to be allowed.
Hey, I'll be a season
No,
ticket
thank you.
holder any year.
On that subject, they don't know if we're even going to be able to allow. They're going to allow us to go to a game. They're trying to figure out how, if the city of San Francisco allows people in the stadium. That's question number one. Question number two: how many in the stadium? And it could be as few as 5 or 10,000. Then, if you have a season ticket, who gets to be one of the 5 or 10,000?
Right.
Where do they sit? How do they? It's and also from a business standpoint, the Giants really, quite frankly, don't want to open a stadium for 5,000 people because
Expensive.
Not worth it.
expensive, and they have to staff it for 40,000.
Rick, are you coming down for spring training at all?
No, I'm not. They will not allow. They're not allowing anybody in the park for pregame, and for the games, I think they are limiting it to less than
750.
1,000 people, and also you will not be able to get within 20 feet of the field. And so, what's the fun part about going to spring training is, being able to hang and schmooze and do all the things that you do there. And I'm not motivated.
Getting to
Rick,
spend
did
some
you
quality
hear-
time with Steve, that's what. Steve, you and I are
Piece I
going.
read before that Mike Murphy sent to Ed Logan. They had a phone conversation. Have you had any recent conversations with Mays at all?
He is very hard. I try to speak to him all the time, but he's very hard to be in touch with because he can't hear, and therefore he doesn't answer the phone. And then when he does answer the phone, my last conversation with him went like this, and please excuse the bad imitation. So he answers the phone. When he says hello, I say, "Hi, this is Rick." And he goes, "Who's this?" And I said, "This is Rick Swig." He said, Who's Scarlett? And it goes on. And then he says to me, he says, "Oh, Rick's not here, but I'll tell him you called." Click.
Oh,
Not funny.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not
90,
good.
almost 90. Well,
He's
is what it
90
is.
years old.
God
He has
bless
some-
them.
She's still with him, right? Renee is still with him?
Renee is his bodyguard.
Isn't there another fellow there? Another guy?
No, his son Michael zooms in periodically and
Okay.
to see him, but that's about it. It's
Here's what it is.
Hey, Gary, maybe
difficult time.
one thing we could do, we hope that Willie is here to celebrate his 90th birthday. Maybe there's some tribute we could record and have it sent to him.
Great idea.
Right.
Mo Fresner,
Nice
your
idea.
hand is up.
Great.
What's up?
Awesome idea. That's a great idea.
Mo? Actually,
Yeah.
actually, we have a meeting on the 6th. We will definitely do something for that. We have a
What
scheduled
day?
meeting. That was the date actually for that. There's a
What
new
date?
book out called 1960,
Yeah, what date is that?
May 6th. Mo, you
May
had your
6th.
your hand is up, Mo. What's your question?
Oh, I don't know. This whole video is mixed up. I'm on because I want to make sure that everybody talked ethically, and they did. And I enjoyed it again, even though I'm a Giant sympathizer. And
Nothing more than a
I
Cubs
just
fan.
enjoy
We
the
still love
entire
you, Mo. It's
company.
okay.
Yeah, we do. We love you, Mo.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Okay.
You know, Gary,
Okay.
that night of May 6th,
Yeah.
we could conceivably, because it's early, it'll be early there, we could conceivably call, and one of us could just call, and we have the number, and have the group sing happy birthday to him.
That'd be
Great
very.
idea.
That would be great.
It's
I've
a great
done that for
idea,
the
but
last-
I love
Rick
that.
Swig kind of scared me.
Awesome.
About what
Awesome.
said, so. Hope he doesn't hang up on us.
No, he won't. I
Who,
don't,
you guys?
Again, last year, the problem last year was his television was so loud, and he says, I can't find the clicker, the remote. And
You're
Gary
right.
Brown had the same problem. Well, it's a ways off. Let's think about it. That'd be a nice thing to do. I had my whole
Well,
group sing
there-
happy
there-
birthday, and you got a kick out of it.
Maybe
I'm
we,
4 months.
there
I'm
is-
4 months
there's
older
nothing-
than Willie.
maybe we could give his wife the heads up on this.
Steve, there's nothing to think about. It's done.
Okay.
And we could, maybe if we could somehow get in touch with his aide to let him know we'll be calling, I think that would be the best thing to do. And like I said, we have a scheduled meeting for May 6th.
All right.
Gary,
That's what I'm
Gary,
saying.
could you send a birthday card ahead of time and let him know in the birthday card, not only our best wishes for his birthday, but also that we'd be calling? If your name's on the return address, they'll recognize it's you and open the envelope.
That's another good idea.
Good idea. I don't know if they'd recognize me. I'm nobody, so.
You're
I'll
both-
be-
For New York Giants
On
Preservation
the East,
Society.
you're well known on the East Coast, Gary.
That's easily done,
You
Gary.
know where I'm well
I'll
known is
hand
in my,
deliver it. I'll
I'm
hand
going to
deliver
my
it.
house. That's about it.
Put friend of Rick Swig on it,
There you
Gary,
go.
4
Now you're
months.
talking.
I'll hand
I'm
deliver it.
4 months older than Willie Mays.
so you just got the big 9-0.
Yeah,
Mo,
I
Getting
don't
it.
know what else there, if anybody wants to add anything. If you guys want to, maybe, quarter of the way in the season or halfway, want to do another one of these San
Oh,
Francisco
yeah.
things,
That'll be much better than this one.
we could do a, whenever they decide a trade deadline or as well, whatever.
Maybe do one in June.
And,
I'm
hold on,
Yes,
Gary,
George, what's up?
Mo, tell the group how you feel. A week ago today, you got the COVID. You sound pretty good, though.
yeah, I had tested negative 2 weeks before. Then they called me, I have it. But I've been doing my exercises and I expect to be swinging my old bat in batting practice in about the month of July in Chicago. So I
Now-
was invited to Wrigley
Okay.
in Chicago, thanks to my old friend Jed Hoyer, who is now president. So I'm in great shape.
Good
for you. By the way, I think
And I have a statistical correction. In our book, The Chicago Cubs and Mo, we report that Mo Resner is the second oldest man after Satchel Paige to sign his first professional major league players contract. He did it at 47 in 1978, and I found out that Satchel Paige was 42. So Mo, we got to change that in the next edition.
Okay.
Is the oldest man to ever sign a professional major league players contract.
By the way, since we're talking about Willie Mays, wouldn't it be great if our organization all wrote to Larry Baer, and he has an email that I sent this afternoon, naming the field Willie Mays Field at Oracle Park. After all, homage to Ricky Anderson by saying Anderson Field at O.co, whatever it's called now, stadium. So we should all write to Larry Baer to push for this. I think our organization has more weight than just me.
How about Oracle Field at Willie Mays Stadium?
Well, I don't think they're going to give up
I gotta do
Oracle
that.
because all the money Oracle paid, and that's what my account. And
You're gonna pick a name, it's Willie Mays Stadium. That's it.
well, yeah, I agree. I agree.
Gary,
but
are you going to send out that email for us, please?
Which email, Bill?
That Mars was referring to for Larry Baer?
You mean the email address?
Address, that's what I meant, yeah.
All, Any email to any of the Giants is it's their first letter, their last name at sfgiants.com.
At
L
giants.com?
Bear at sfgiants.com.
Oh, sfgiants.com. Okay, that's it.
I know Steve has invited him on here. He doesn't get any responses. So, I mean, Morris, I think it's a great idea. I think, honestly, if Peter McGowan was still alive, you'd have a much better chance of that, because McGowan had the New York background and
Scared.
more responsible than anybody for
Right.
whatever it is in that stadium. And Rick knows more about that than probably anyone. He's always there between the Gotham Club, all of the flags that are flown, the retired numbers, and things like that. It's all Peter McGowan.
Yep.
I know Larry Bear worked with him, but I don't think it's anywhere near what it was. And Peter McGowan showed up at these trophy things and was magnificent and was so kind to us. And when we had the Giant night, when Steve and I and Mo were there, he was the speaker and spoke eloquently, and met Steve and I at a hotel to meet some of the people prior to the game. And he was a wonderful man, and came to speak, at Bergino's. I met him at Affinities. He emailed me, how would you like to meet for a drink? And I was like, I'm going to have a drink with this guy? I mean, I was like taken back, like, what a nice
Peter
man.
McGowan was a great human being.
Yes,
He was a real fan. I was at Bobby Thompson's funeral, and he said it meant so much to him. He was a fan in '51. So it was one of his greatest days.
well, Peter certainly died in the wool, but I think if our organization, and since probably knows him, I think we should all get together and at least try to see where it goes, because there's a lot of power in an organization with one person.
Numbers matter. Send a lot of them.
Yeah.
Gary, we met him at Shea Stadium, remember?
Yeah, it was very, I don't know when that was, early 2000s, right? Or was it? It was 1990s. Everybody's looking to talk to, the Giant players. And Steve and I were sitting there, and I said, look, there's Peter McGowan. And we basically followed him to the bathroom. Came out, we're sitting there talking to him. He signed some stuff for us. We sent him pictures. He sent them back to us. Really, he was a great guy.
Yeah, he was really nice.
Hey, Gary, without you, I wouldn't have met him.
Yes, you're getting sentimental, Mo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
Peter was a great guy. We worked out at the Presidio Y together, and I photographed him and Larry Bear when they broke ground at the new ballpark. Rick knows him. Rick should have some influence. I actually sold Rick a camera years ago. He may not remember it, but I think again, we should have a concerted effort and all right, Larry Bear. I think he'll go for it.
If you need help with the letter, call me. I've got the MFA in creative writing.
Yeah, I would suggest you send a sample email to Gary with the email address it should go to, and then we can all send one.
Good idea.
I'll forward you what I wrote to Gary. Larry, and I'll send it to Gary, and then we could all go from there. How about that?
Sounds good.
Sounds very good. So, Steve, you have not heard a whisper from him for any? You emailed him a few times, Steve?
3 times.
3 times?
Nothing?
Including his administrative assistant, Terry. Usually they respond. No response.
Anybody else want to wrap things up, or we good to go? So we're all kind of in agreement. We should do this again as a sample.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's always a good thing to do. Do it maybe in June, once the season's going, give them a couple of months in and give it a shot.
So
Why
will that
not?
be a June swoon or will it be the season swoon? Which one?
Yeah, yeah. Will it be, yeah, right. Will it be a June swoon or will it be, you know, a June sun?
Well, the
Season will
players
be
we
over
have,
after the first pitch, ball one.
All one, and I will call Steve and I will say the following. It's over. And that's it.
Hey, here's something I'd like to just throw out for whatever purpose at sometime when we're having one of these sessions.
Dave, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Go ahead.
I know you're speaking next week. Is there any way for you to make yourself bigger for next week on the camera? Something like
Like
that.
this?
That would be good, Dave.
Okay, I'll sit forward when I do it. Yeah, I'll make myself bigger.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
work.
please, because I know you'd want to show the book also, and it would be a good thing. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry I interrupted you.
It's all right. Speaking of books, one of these sessions where we don't have a speaker, maybe everybody could say what their favorite book about the New York Giants is and why.
My favorite, I just have to mention that my favorite is the Giants, the Yankees, and the what's it called? It's about the 1920s that includes Arnold Rothstein, the Giant, and the Battle for Supremacy in New York City.
1921.
Yes, that's a great book.
Hey,
Fantastic.
Mars, if you
Yeah.
go on our website and you go all the way back, he spoke at our meeting.
Yeah, great book.
Oh,
Okay.
His name, Steve, I forgot his last name. His name is Steve.
Lyle Spatz.
He did it with Lyle Spatz, is correct. It was a co-authorship.
Hey, by the way.
Sternberg.
That's it.
Gary.
Yeah, I got it. Autographed by both.
Dave, I think you were at our meeting you might have been at Bergino's fan.
Gary, the
Mo.
last time they used Morris was that when I was in public school. But you got to remember me as Mo, M-O-E.
Well, you could change that on your screen somehow. I'm not exactly.
I'll hire an expert.
There you go.
His name is George Greger.
Okay. Well, Mo will be speaking to the group at some time in the spring about his video. So that'll be something else to look forward to. As far as tonight, again, we have tonight's going to be ending. Dave Lippman will be next week. And again, it looks like we're getting a plethora of people. Stu Thornley, are you here?
Hi.
Stu, how are you? All your buddies, Dan Levitt and Mr. Sheehy Flynn, they're both on board for coming to speak in the near future.
Good. I'm very happy to hear that. I had a tertiary sport tonight. I had basketball that I just got here from. So.
But they are so grateful that you led them to this group, and they will be speaking. Dan is going to be speaking about sign stealing and about the Giants and also about the Astros and stuff. And he's also working on a book on John McGraw. And
Do you have dates on those guys yet?
I'm sorry? No,
Do you have
no.
date?
They want to get a little further into their thing.
Okay.
And Mr. Flynn, he's great grandnephew. Is that what he is? Grandnephew?
Grandnephew.
Great grandnephew, something like that.
He's going to speak about Sheehy's career as a New York Giants scout and replacing Bill Rigney as the manager of the San Francisco Giants.
Hey, Stu, you beat Purdue tonight. Is that where you were?
Yeah, I was doing shot clock on it. They had a 4:00 Central Time game, which was kind of nice and really good game. No team got more than a 7-point lead, and the Gophers were down by 2. And their good guard banked in a 3-pointer with 14 seconds left.
You didn't mess with the shot clock, did you?
The nice thing is when it gets under 30 seconds in the game, I don't have a thing to do. I can't mess up anything. That's the nice thing. I can just sit back.
There you go.
Guys, thanks for a great meeting. I hope you found
Thanks,
it
Gary.
worthwhile.
Good job.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah,
I think it was a nice change of
Stay
pace.
safe.
Everybody
Stay safe. Get your shots.
Thanks a lot, Gary.
I'm scheduled tomorrow, Paul, so we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Got the second
Great,
one
Gary.
on
Terrific.
Sunday.
Okay.
Second one Sunday.
My seconds tomorrow.